who never wanted anything to do with Hausas and the Fulanis after the Civil War. Anytime they overtook the government, they assumed power, he would give them one excuse or the other and sneak out to Germany and say he was going for medical checkup. He didn't want anything to do with them. It was in the Shehu Shagari administration that they called him the crying governor. He would cry to Shehu Shagari in Asoro and they would give him what he wanted and he would go back to Biafra land. Apart from that, he didn't want anything to do with them. Mbakwe established a range of industries, cottage industries, more than 15 of them in the Were, Amara power station, to make sure that we go. In Owerri, the last pipe-borne water seized after Mbakwe left office. The last pipe-borne water seized after Mbakwe left office. I remember as a child, I go to pipe-borne water, what we call pump, to go and fetch water. We will put all our plastics as a child. In those days.
Why there's nobody taking over from him?
Because after him, this series of military regimes started coming, and you know, after the nature of the Nigerian people and the Fulanis, they would deploy, they would send these Igbo, the so-called Igbo governors, whose mothers were Northerners or their fathers were Northerners, and they baptized them with Igbo names. Beneath them, they have the agenda of the Fulanis. They knew they could use them to further their agenda because their feet, one foot is over here, one foot is over there. They really did not know who they were or their identity. So that was what happened. Mbakwe remains the only legitimate governor the Igbos have. No, he was the governor.
Okay. Mbakwe was the governor. Shehu Shagari, who is the...
No, he never went to national something. Mbakwe never went to national anything because he never believed in Nigeria. Mbakwe did not believe in Nigeria. That was why when military took over, he will sneak up to Germany and tell them that he went to medical checkup, that he can't hold any position. He never trusted them. He didn't believe in them. So that was the man Mbakwe was. And ever since he left office, nobody has replicated what he did today. What we have was droves of criminals, 419ers, whom the Fulanis knew they were going to use to destroy the Igbos.
Yeah, and they're succeeding.
And they succeeded because, let me tell you, if you give back a child who has no understanding of history, if he likes, let him be a space scientist. He is as good as nothing.
Okorocha is the worst thing that happened to Iran.
Space scientists are good. Space scientists are good. Yes.
He didn't kill Biafra, but everything
the Fulanis knew. The Fulanis knew they could use Hope to destroy the Igbos, to kill as Igbos as possible. Do you know what? If Hope was a convicted armed robber. Okay. He was freed by this big elephant that goes about saying that he's a Ohanese chieftain right now. Iwanam, when I was in secondary school, Iwanam was responsible, instrumental to the cleaning of 2 Igbo youth from his place because they did work for him, he refused to pay them. He branded them as armed robbers, and those 2 kids were shot dead. Iwanam. All of them coming and he's pretending to be a senator.
Sometimes I do say it, and people ask me why. Our problem is coming from Imo State.
Yes.
If you can solve problem for Imo, all Igbo land is okay. But let me tell you another thing again. Okorocha have contract as of the time with Turkish. So from there he mingled into the system, and disrespect of Igbo today is from Okorocha.
Yes, it's from Okorocha. Yeah.
Everything started from him.
And Okorocha and all of them, including Kalu.
Right. Okorocha is everything that happened to Igbo today. If they don't respect you anywhere in the world today, it's Okorocha. But he didn't kill anyone.
Okorocha
didn't kill anybody.
Yes. But he made way for Fulani.
Okay, he made way for Fulani.
And Ojis of Kalu. These people, including Okorocha, they took the contract of talking about Islamization of this movement. With Okorocha and Okorocha and Kalu, they can only lay claim to being born in a compound that is Igbo, but their fathers are not Igbo. That's why I keep telling people, I keep telling people, put Babangida here, put Ojus of Kalu, their pictures, begin to look at those two people. They look exactly alike.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Trust you had a beautiful night rest. Yeah, you're welcome to another episode of our newspaper review. Please, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click the subscription button, turn on the notification bell so as to get notified whenever we're live. And if you have any comment, the link has been posted. Please, you can join us via the link, but please be properly dressed, because at times we see some persons who are not properly dressed trying to come live, and it's really not. All right, let's move. Please, guys, don't forget to click on the like button, like and share. Like and share. Mr. Lord Larry, good morning to you, sir. $40 million, good morning. Yeah, and other viewers out there. Please like and share. And for your support, and please send in your support to the account details displaying on the screen. And you can as well send in your super chats. Alright, today's newspaper review starting with the Daily Sun newspaper. It says FEC approves setting up of Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund to remit $5 billion annually to the fund. OK's draft policy solid minerals development, and that's on page 27 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Supreme Court prepares for full judgment day, and that's on page 6. Results ruling in Atiku Obi's petitions against Tinubu. The president insists ex-VP's fresh evidence aligned to law. APM drops charges after bashing for filing frivolous appeal. President applauds as Nigeria wins $11 billion P&ID case. We've been vindicated. This is coming from AGF, and that's on page 4 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And still on forest scarcity may worsen as 86 firms dump petrol imports permit over forest crisis, and that's on page 22. Mbawu's investors with juicy opportunities, ease of doing business policy, and that's on page 2. Israel-Hamas conflict escalates beyond Gaza amid relentless air strikes. Israel armed civilian security squad fearing internal strife, and that's on page 26. Federal government will achieve $1 trillion economic target in 2026 and $4 trillion in 2035. This coming from Tinubu. Vows to clear forest backlog, and that's on page 25 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And on autonomy, parliamentary workers to shut national state assemblies, and that's on page 27. So if you have any comment, you can join us via the link, like and share. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so as to get notified whenever we're live. Yeah, so over to the Nation newspaper. It says victory in $11 billion P&ID UK. News on page 4. UK case cited President EFCC. Court vows multi-billion-dollar arbitration, and that's on page 4. Calls there for Odudu as Supreme Court dismisses Adeyemi's appeal. Federal government confirms January start of student loan scheme. And that's on page 4. FEC OK's $5 billion annual fund for humanitarian poverty alleviation. And that's on page 5. Supreme Court views Atiku's lawyers over CSU documents. An appeals court dismisses APM's appeal, reserves judgment in Atiku Obi versus Tinubu. Ondo Assembly pushes ahead with Ayedatiwa's impeachment. And CJ gets anchor later to set up panel. Gets another later to set up panel. In forest crisis, federal government to inject $10 billion in weeks. Unauthorized dollar transactions to become illegal. Consumers credit scheme soon, says President. And still on the high cost of, it said, host communities kick as proposed pie review strings 3% allocation. And that's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And we have host communities must fund new portal introduced by NUPRC and hire pay lawyers and chartered accountants with at least 10 years experience. As injunction elapses, Ondo Assembly reopens Ayedatiwa's impeachment process. And that's on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. It's the APC kicks the Supreme Court reserves judgment in Atiku Obi's appeal. P&ID $11 billion award against Nigeria obtained by fraud. Tinubu hails victories. And that's on page 6. Tinubu targets $1 trillion economy, hopeful of $10 billion inflow to ease forex crisis. Adeyemi loses again as Supreme Court affirms Usman Odudu APC candidate. And that's on page 29. And FG IHL Towers sealed NIB deal on digital communities. And that's on page 4. Also suspends foreign trips for official. And that's on page 4. Well, on this case of the president, let's see what we have there. Said Tinubu's certificate proves alleged forgery beyond reasonable doubt. Supreme Court says Atiku. It's a court reserves judgment on Obi, Labour Party's appeal, dismisses APM's case. Article insists on CSU evidence, ex-VP's deposition invalid. So ex-VP's disposition invalid, says Tinubu, the chairman of the Supreme Court panel hearing the appeals against the election of President Bola Tinubu. Justice John Okoro said on Monday that the People's Democratic Party standard bearer in the February presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, must prove the allegation of certificate forgery leveled against the ex-Lagos State governor beyond reasonable doubt. Okoro handed down the admonition during the hearing of the election petition appeals filed by Atiku and Peter Obi of the Labour Party. It stated this following the submission of Atiku's-led counsel, Chris Uche-San, urging the court to admit the fresh evidence brought by the petitioners in his bid to nullify Tinubu's victory and prove the allegation that he was not qualified to contest the presidential pool. Atiku had prayed to an Illinois Chicago District Court to order the Chicago State University to release the president's academic records. The former vice president had accused Tinubu of falsifying the CSU Diploma of Bachelor of Science in Business Administration awarded in 1979 that is submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission. He demanded a copy of any diploma issued by CSU in 1979, a copy of the diploma the CSU gave to Tinubu in 1979, and copies of diplomas with the same font, seal, signatures, and wording awarded to other students that are similar to what CSU awarded to him in 1979. It says Atiku application was opposed by Tinubu's lawyers, citing privacy concerns, even as they considered that only the certificate should be released and not other privileged records. On the academic record, but the United States court ordered the release of the ex-Lagos State governor's academic records, which Atiku filed in support of his election petition, appealed at the Supreme Court. Addressing the Apex Court on Monday, Uche insisted that the issue of Tinubu's academic record was a weighty matter and urged the Supreme Court to admit as fresh evidence. The senior lawyer said the issue involving Tinubu's certificate is a weighty, grave, and constitutional one, which the Supreme Court should admit. I urge the court to admit the fresh evidence of President Tinubu's academic record from CSU presented by Atiku. The court should take a look at Tinubu's records and reach a decision devoid of technicality. As a policy court, the court has a duty to look at it and should sidestep technical. Atiku's-led counsel also said the issue of 180 days should not tie the hands of the court, but Justice Okoro, while describing the matter as criminal in nature, said it must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. He observed that there were two conflicting letters from Chicago State University. According to him, one of the letters authenticated the president's certificate and the other discredited it. He said this is a criminal matter that has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. There are two conflicting letters from the CSU, one authenticating the president's certificate and another discrediting it, and another panel member, Justice Emmanuel Hagim, observed that the disposition Atiku was seeking to tender as evidence was done in the chambers of Atiku's lawyer and not in the courtroom. I expected the college to write disclaiming the document in dispute. Does the stenographer have the legal authority to administer oaths? We are dealing with a matter that touches on national interest, he noted. But Uche argued that the disposition were done in the presence of Tinubu's U.S. lawyers, adding that There was no dispute about it. The counsel to the All Progressive Congress, Akin Olujimi San, told the court that Atiku should not be allowed to bring in documents not presented at the tribunal. He said you cannot smuggle in a document into the Supreme Court without first tendering the same at the trial court. The appeal is misconceived and lacks merit. It should be outright dismissed. In his response to Uche's argument, the lawyer to the president, Wole Olanipekun San, similarly urged the court not to admit the fresh document, adding that INEC was not a party to it. The dispositions are not admissible in the USA, and it is akin to disposition which we have in Nigeria. The disposition was not done in court, and INEC was not a party to it. The disposition must not be accepted by the individual that disposed to it before it can be admitted. Therefore, the disposition must be adopted by the individual that disposed to it before it can be admitted as evidence before the court. He reasoned. He also said the 180 days stipulated for the conclusion of election petition cases is like a rock of Gibraltar. It cannot be moved. INEC's lawyer, Abubakar Mahmood, asked the court to interpret Section 285 of the Constitution and also urged the court to dismiss the appeal. The court, which had Wani, Haji, Mohammed, Gaba, Ibrahim, Salawa, Adamu, Jaru, Abubakar, Dijani as other panel members, however, reserved judgment in the matter. The court also reserved judgment in the appeal filed by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, against the tribunal's judgment affirming Tinubu's election. Obi and the Labour Party, through their lawyers, led by Dr. Levi Uzoku San, urged the court to uphold the appeal and set aside the judgment of the presidential election. Petition court that dismissed the petition. The INEC, Tinubu, and the APC had prayed the court to dismiss the appeal for want of merit. The panel said it would communicate the judgment date to all the parties. Obi, who came third in the election, had in his 51 grounds of appeal, maintained that the PEC panel held in law and thereby reached a wrong conclusion when it dismissed his petition. Having been withdrawn, the appeal is hereby struck out, Okoro said. So the APM lawyer applied to withdraw his appeal. The APC, INEC, Ibrahim Masari, and Tinubu's counsels did not object. So that is the update on that. All right, so our Punch newspaper says UK court dismisses $11 billion P&I dispute. Nigeria demands damages. And that's on page 7. Federal government plans $10 billion to stabilize Naira. Eyes NNPCL for Forex. And that's on page 2. FEC OK's $3.45 billion World Bank loans for power and others, and that's on page 9. So still on the Tinubu certificate, that's the one I just read out. It's proved Alleged forgery beyond reasonable doubt, Supreme Court tells Atiku. Court reserves judgment on Obi, Labour Party's appeal. Dismisses APM case. And Atiku insists on CSU evidence. Ex-VP's disposition invalid, says Tinubu. And that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And beneath the photo displayed there, you can see the Aya Dam flood sacks Ogun communities. Government declares emergency. Israel arrests 120 militants. EU backs Gaza aid. And slain Nigerian students, NIDCOM prompt murder, and NAS demands justice. That's on page 4 and page 5. Federal government IHL's plan 1 billion naira tech talent communities. And candidates' nomination can be contested as pre-election, post-election appeal courts rules, and nullifies Senate's minority leaders election. And US seeks increase investments to develop young Nigerians' talent, and that's on page 10. Obasanjo and Nigeria can overcome forest crisis by exploring non-oil exports. I didn't falsify name. Lagos court worked on Saturday in 1970s, and that's on page 41. And Supreme Court breaches disputed further. Please, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click the subscription button, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified whenever we're live and whenever content are being posted. And if you have any comment, you can join us via the link in the comment section and air your view. And please, if you're yet to click on the like button, please don't forget to like and share. To those who are Supreme Court reserves judgment in Atiku Obi's appeals against Tinubu. APM withdraws. And Nigeria wins $11 billion debt case against P and ID. Bandits invade Katsina community, buy 9 and adopt 7. And that's on page 4. Federal government automates forex transactions as naira slumps to 1,220 naira per dollar. Admits illiquidity, pledges to clear forex backlog, and come up with critical reforms. NASG urges governor. Help manufacturers with subsidy. This coming from Dawn, and that's on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And still on the Gaza war, obey international law. Western leaders tell Israel. Estranged suspends as police investigate murder of Maiduguri housewife. And that's on page 3. FEC OK's $3.45 billion loan to finance power other oil project, and that's on page 5. So that's still in this matter of loan. And yesterday's newspaper, there was one that says that Nigeria has not gotten to that state that we require other states to step in, that they can do everything themselves, and you're still getting loans. So what if you don't get the money to pay back? Hope you're not using our country as a collateral in case you don't pay back, in case debt becomes too much. So insurance sector grows from 827 billion naira to 2.33 trillion naira in 2022, and that's on page 19 of the Daily Trust newspaper. A student loan takes off January. This coming from Tinubu. Says plans underway to improve foreign exchange contracts for a subsidy. Pains will be short-lived, a had, and that's on page 25. Hopefully, just hope and pray that this actually gets over soon. Impeachment again. Ondo Assembly writes CJ to constitute panel to investigate Aiyedatiwa, and that's on page 21. Federal government targets $5 billion annually for humanitarian poverty alleviation tax fund and okays $3.45 billion for 5 projects, including $700 million for adolescents girl child education, and that's on page 12. Sus, you're welcome. Twinkie enforces tax clearance certificate as precondition for business transactions in FCT, and that's on page 5. And Supreme Court dismisses Adeyemi's appeal against APC Odudu, and that's also on page 22. Ondo Odua Investment Foundations defined for launch today, and that's on page 12. And still on the P and ID, it said excitement as Nigeria wins $11 billion UK court case, and that's on page 4. Corrupt officers, private firms can no longer hold nations hostage. This coming from Tinubu. And judgment removes weeks to Nigerians' assets abroad. This coming from AGF, and that all on page 4 of the Nigeria Tribune newspaper. How a bearded man sold his parts to Islamic clerics for 50,000 naira, suspect says. And that story is on page 23. Like, things are really going on in this country and they're getting out of hand. A lot of persons, when you don't have what to eat, or you're facing one difficult problem, one difficulties or the other, one challenge or the other, you have to look for a way out, and that's what's going on in this country. Get a way out to just survive. And a lot of persons are going extra mile, and it's really affecting their neighbors. So autonomy parliamentary staff set to shut down national state assemblies. That's on page 22. And 40 women in Nigeria die daily from breast cancer. Oh my, that's on page 25. And Supreme Court resolves judgment in Obi Atiku's appeal against Tinubu's election and dismisses APM's appeal. Defeat awaits you, APC tells Atiku and PDP, and that's on page 21. Please, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click the subscription button, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified whenever we're live. All right, so still on the NLC case, it says, Oyo NLC threatens sit at home over wage award. Let's see what we have there. It said the Oyo State chapter of the Nigeria Labour Congress on Monday threatened to embark on a sit at home if the state government failed to honor its agreement by the end of October. That was one of the resolutions to the union after its progress. held at the NLC Secretariat in Ibadan, the state capital. The NLC chairman, Kayode Martins, who briefed journalists shortly after the Congress, said the leadership of the workers had earlier briefed its members on activities of the commitment set up by the government to fashion a suitable arrangement for the wage award before reaching resolutions based on recommendations from workers. It said today's Congress was solely called wage award issues. It's been lingering all the while, and workers in the state are fed up. Even the pensioners. We have been having a series of meetings, like we told the governor when the ad hoc committee was inaugurated, that people are fed up already. Since May 29 this year, nothing has been done. We have been having meetings upon meetings, and people decided today, Monday, that we are standing on the agreement made between the federal government and the governors forum and labor leaders at the national level, that at the end of the month, wage award of 35,000 naira for workers and 25,000 naira for pensioners is not implemented. People should stay at home. We are going to send a notice to the government and all the stakeholders in the next couple of minutes with what is on ground in the state. I'm appealing to the state government as a pace center state to add to the money and not deduct from it. This is time for us to have our payback, even beyond 35,000 naira and beyond 25,000 naira. And that is true. 35,000 naira is nothing. I keep saying that it's nothing right now. It's nothing compared to the high cost of living. It's really nothing. It's way too little. School fees on the high, paying over 100,000 naira per section, like that's, and we're in a state school. So I don't get, if state school is that expensive, you can imagine how the cost of fees is in private institutions. So it's way too small. If they can add to them, add to it. So I won't even support that they reduce from it. Let them give them what is due to them. Even this is not even due. It's not okay compared to that stress and everything they're doing. So you want to give them 35, it's manageable. It's not manageable, but what to do? They will accept it. So just give it to them rather than stressing them out. He said the governor has been a man for the workers and the pensioners. He is our own man. Like we said during the electioneering, that his second term in office is our project, and we were able to deliver, and this is payback time for us, as hopefully we are believing God for something beyond 35,000 naira and 25,000 naira from him. So if by the end of this month nothing is done, they will be staying at home. So that's the update. If by the end of this month they don't receive that pay, they'll be staying at home. Because even if you earn 100,000 naira in this country, it's still not enough. 150, okay, let's say 150 is manageable. That's if you have other things you're doing. 150 is okay, you can still make use of that. But 100,000 naira is still not enough, because by the time you pay school fees, pay this, pay that, transportation cost and all that, it has eaten into the money and it's still not enough. Then the small 35,000 naira, you want to stress these people. Well, God will fight for us. Want to stress the people, it is well. All right, so let's see what we have in the Biafra land. Let's see the updates. Please, if you have any comment, any contribution, you can join us via the link in the comment section. And please send in your super chat, send in your support to the account detail on the screen. And please like and share. All right, let's see what we have here.
Mbakwe was the only governor in the East.
Biafra national identity card. You find out there is the Biafra Liberation Army logo. There is the Star of David. Can never be taken away from us. It is a sign of the covenant of God. You see, during the time when Nigeria was fraudulently formed, the flag of Nigeria had Star of David. But those who are killing us today, they removed it. Nobody complained. Which means our identity has been removed. Yet, we did not complain. As if that was not enough. They begin to change the demography of our own geographic area. Today, when you talk, they brag about you are from the Southeast. Southeast was not in existence 50 years ago. But the Nigerian state, with the Dundees, Dolodos, Itiboribos, the only thing they care of is how to make money. We are not just about making money, we are about living in peace. It is now, we have come to understand and realize that life is not all about money. We choose peace over money. We also choose freedom over money. And that is why somebody like me rejected everything offered to me. They did not even approach me to even offer, but I heard, but I know from the right source that they are offering themselves whatever to drop their agitation. I want you all to understand, we have sacrificed a lot. We have taken a lot of bullets. Not only that we have taken a lot of bullets, what we are doing is for history's sake. I did not join this Biafra movement to make money. I joined this Biafra movement to make a name. And the name I want to make is a name that you are going to be reading, your children will be reading it in history and say, Simon Ekpa is one of those that liberated Biafra. This convention may never happen again. The next one will be in Biafra.
All right. So congratulations to the Biafra people. Congratulations, your IDs has been designed. So congratulations to you all. All right. Thank you all for staying tuned. With this, we've come to the end of today's newspaper review. And please, if you're yet to click the like button, please click on the like button, like and share. Please send in your support and send in super chat. Lord Larry, thank you for staying tuned. 14 million, thank you. The team Swiss, thank you. And other viewers, thank you for staying tuned. We sincerely appreciate. To our active subscriber and our active supporters, thank you so much. Like, thank you. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. You're amazing. And won't have done this without you. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough. Mrs. Elizabeth, yes, she's supportive. Thank you so much, ma. Mr. Lord Larry, thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being an active supporter. We sincerely appreciate. Jonah Meda, yes, thank you too. Shibweze Onuka, thank you. Ike Ojocha, thank you. Indidiamaka Madu, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate. Honestly, you are all amazing. Thank you for supporting. And please, if you want to be a supporter of this channel, you can be in different ways. You can subscribe to become a member. Yes, to become a member. So you can subscribe to become a member. You can as well click on the like button and share. Then you can send in your support. You can see the account number displaying on the screen. You can send in your support and also send in your super chat. So these are different ways, various ways that you can be supportive. So you can come here and air your view as well. So these are different ways you can be supportive to this channel. And we won't take that for granted. We sincerely appreciate your time. Do have a lovely day.
Mbappe was the only governor in the East who never wanted anything to do with Hausas and the Fulanis after the Civil War. Anytime they overtook the government, they assumed power, he would give them one excuse or the other and sneak out to Germany and say he was going for medical checkup. He didn't want anything to do with them. It was in the Shiv Shagari administration that they called him the crying governor. He would cry to Shiv Shagari in Asoro and they'll give him what he wanted and he'll go back to Fairport. Apart from that, he didn't want anything to do with them. Mbappe established a range of industries, cottage industries, more than 15 of them in the Were, Amaraku fire station, power station, to make sure that we go. In a Were, the last pipe-borne water seized after Mbappe left office. The last pipe-borne water seized after Mbappe left office. I remember as a child, I go to pipe-borne water, what we call pump, to go and fetch water. We will put all our plastics as a child. In those days.
Why does nobody taking over from him?
Because after him, this series of military regimes started coming, and you know, after the nature of the Nigerian people and the Fulanis, they would deploy, they would send these Igbo, the so-called Igbo governors, whose mothers were Northerners or their fathers were Northerners, and they baptized them with Igbo names. Beneath them, they have the agenda of the Fulanis. They knew they could use them to further their agenda because their feet, one foot is over here, one foot is over there. They really did not know who they were or their identity. So that was what happened. Mbappe remains the only legitimate governor the Igbos have. No, he was the governor.
Okay.
Mbappe was the governor.
Who is this?
No, he never went to national something. Mbappe never went to national anything because he never believed in Nigeria. Mbappe did not believe in Nigeria. That was why when military took over, he will sneak up to Germany and tell them that he went to medical checkup, that he can't hold any position. He never trusted them. He didn't believe in them. So that was the man Mbappe was. And ever since he left office, nobody has replicated what he did today. What we have was throes of criminals, 419ers, whom the Fulanis knew they were going to use to destroy the Igbos.
Yeah, and they're succeeding.
And they succeeded because, let me tell you, if you give back a child who has no understanding of history, if he likes, let him be a space scientist. He is as good as nothing.
Okorocha is the worst thing that happened to Iran.
Space scientists are good. Space scientists are good. Yes.
He didn't kill Biafra, but everything
the Fulanis knew they could use Hopos or Rema to destroy the Igbos, to kill as Igbos as possible. Do you know what? If Hopos Rema was a convicted armed robber, okay, he was freed by this big elephant that goes about saying that he's a Ohanese chieftain right now. He went on when I was in secondary school. He went and was responsible, instrumental to the cleaning of 2 Igbo from his place because they did work for him. He refused to pay them. He branded them as armed robbers, and those 2 kids were shot dead. He went on. All of them coming out, he's safe, pretending to be a senator.
Sometimes I do say, people ask me why. Our problem is coming from Imo State.
Yes.
If we can solve problem for Imo, all Igbo land is okay. But let me tell you another thing again. Okorocha have contract as of the time with Turkish. So from there, he mingled into the system, and disrespect of Igbo today is from Okorocha.
Yes, it's from Okorocha. Yeah.
Everything started from him.
And Okorocha and all of them, including Carlo Ocha.
Right. Okorocha is everything that happened to Igbo today. If they don't respect you anywhere in the world today, it's Okorocha. But he didn't kill anyone.
Okorocha didn't kill anybody. Yes. But he made way for Fulani.
Okay, he made way for Fulani.
And Otis Okalo. These people, including Okorocha, they took the
contract of Turkey about Islamization.